Hey, good afternoon, traders, and today we are going to talk about Tesla. Ticker symbol is TSLA, and today's a very special day because I'm going to do things a little bit different. We're obviously going to get into the technical analysis, but first what I'm going to do is I'm going to summarize their earnings that happened this afternoon post bell, after the bell, and then also I'm going to summarize the conference call. And the reason I'm going to do this is because, one, I'm a Tesla stockholder and shareholder, so I have a pretty decent position in Tesla, and I go pretty deep on this one. So let's start with the financial performance. So even though revenue and earnings came in line, basically they were mildly positive, there were some takeaways from the key statistics when it comes to the performance from a year-over-year perspective that I wanted to point out, which obviously doesn't bode well for the stock, hence the reason we saw the drop in the after hours. Okay, so the first one. Total revenue dropped 12% year over year to $22.5 billion. Guys, this is the steepest decline in over a decade for Tesla. Okay, that's point number one. Financial point number two is the GAAP net income fell 16% to $1.17 billion, and operating income plunged down 42%, and operating margin was down -4%. So again, not good for Tesla shareholders at present based on Q2 earnings. Adjusted EPS came in at 40 cents. Below expectations, the street was looking for 42 cents. Okay, so that kind of wraps up the financial performance from the balance sheet perspective. Now let's look at unit sales and automotive trends. Vehicle sales or deliveries declined 14% to about 384,000 units. And automotive revenues alone dropped 16% to $16.6 billion. Not good, guys. Okay, moving on to the earnings call. They talked a lot about RoboTaxi, and as many of you know, the pilot launched in Austin, Texas, and Musk, for the rest of the year, is targeting about half of the U.S. population by year end, pending regulatory approvals, of course. Also, they talked about an affordable model. The first builds began in June, and planned ramp-up period is throughout the rest of the year, with a public launch expected Q4. So we have something to look forward to there. Next, Optimus and CyberCab. Progress on the humanoid robot Optimus and CyberCab are making way. Both are expected to enter production in 2026. So that's super positive because we think Optimus and the CyberCab, I don't know if I said CenterCab, CyberCab is going to be very bullish for the stock. So keep that in mind. Okay, last point on key strategic updates. Energy growth. Record Powerwall and Megapack deployment. Very, very bullish. Expanding AI training hardware was fantastic. They talked a lot about that. So a couple positives, a couple not sures, right? Now let's get into the risks and the headwinds for Tesla. So as many of you know, there's an expiration of the U.S. EV tax credits and a decline in regulatory credit revenue, which negatively affects the margins. So we have that. So Musk said with a decline in those regulatory credits or EV tax credits, there's going to be some headwinds, okay? So, not so good for shareholders. Ongoing macroeconomic uncertainty. What does this include? This includes tariffs. This includes political sentiment. This includes global trade shifts. This may lead to a few rough quarters, and that's what Musk pretty much pointed out on the call. Now, the last kind of takeaway or risk or headwind is going to be the brand pressure that Elon Musk noted, mainly due to political actions and intensifying competition from Chinese and traditional automakers. So, yeah, guys, there's some headwinds we got to face. We got to get through these things, but here's the thing. Tesla, as I'm going to get into technical analysis, has underperformed the market. So, and the technicals don't look so bad, but we do have to hold some key levels. So we're going to get in that in just a second. Lastly, want to just touch on management takeaways from the call. Okay, so Musk described this phase as a transitional period and cautioned on short-term challenges, but highlighted and expressed optimism as very compelling economics by late 2026. So what does this mean? Short-term headwinds, short-term volatility is what I kind of see and what I kind of read out of this. And then lastly, Tesla reaffirmed its strategy to invest in autonomy, AI, robotics, and energy. These are areas that we as shareholders can expect to be key future value drivers for Tesla. So I like that. But clearly this is going to be a longer term hold for us. So now let's get into the charts, let's get into the TA, and let's have a deep look at kind of where things stand. So with all that being said, where does price action stand? Where are we at in this this price movement? Let's look at it. Okay, so the way I see it is we're in this massive kind of triangle, and we were setting up this bullish or this bull flag, I would say, with another inside triangle. What do I mean by that? I'm going to show you. So let me draw that on. So you have that kind of trend line there, and then you had this one that was shaping up. Well, still looks good. I'm on the 24-hour chart. This does include after hours action. Before, let me just shift back to the daily. You could see we were in this nice move up. We were building this bullish consolidation. Mind you, it was above the major triangle. The problem was it wasn't confirmed. Now this I paid close attention to. What happened in after hours? Well, we got this news. We got a 5% sell-off. So Elon, didn't help our after hours trade on this. But for all those reasons, there's a lot of things to be bullish for, but it's more on a longer term basis. So where do I see the price actually going from here? Well, couple things. If we could hold this triangle, this inside triangle, and we could maybe, but maybe wick down to this and then get a move and consolidate and bust through, price action tells us we're going higher. But if we don't do that, we fall below, right? We get a move something like this. So, we fall below, and maybe we do, let me get this back on. Sorry about that. So say we do something like this. I see us going that route. Okay. So that's kind of how I see it, honestly, even though I'm a shareholder and I'd love to be more bullish than this. Based on the conference call and based on the financials, I could see us re-attacking this line down here, which isn't so bad, guys. If you guys are holding shares and you have covered calls and you sold some going into today's earnings, then you're going to have the opportunity to cover those at a much, much lower price and create some cash flow while you're holding your shares. So that's what I'm doing. So I was okay either way. Now, I did buy some upside calls, hoping that we were going to get a breakout. Those obviously aren't going to work out for me, but it is what it is. So it's part of the game. It's part of the risk. And, you do things based on your own risk profile and risk assessment and due diligence. So that won't work out for me. And if you played calls going into this earnings release, then likely you're not going to have very much success with those either, especially if they're short dated. So that's option one. This is kind of my primary pathing for Tesla. My secondary path is, like I said earlier before, if we could stay somehow in this smaller triangle and we could do something like this and do something like that, well, that would be obviously very, very bullish price action. It would directly conflict with what he just said in terms of hardships and headwinds and all those things going into Q3. But don't forget, guys, we're kind of beaten down. The rest of the market is rallying their tails off, making all-time highs each and every day. Stocks are exploding. Even meme stocks are going up. You have your open, technologies, and I mean, even GoPro, which I've been sitting on for years, had an explosive move today and then obviously sold off. But you're getting some risk on, right? There's a lot of risk going on in the market. And Tesla, while it's been putting in this bullish structure, it really hasn't done anything. Similarly, Apple hasn't really done a whole lot. Amazon's finally catching a bid. Google's finally catching a bid. But we find ourselves with these Mag 7s that are kind of playing catch up. So is it entirely out of the realm of possibility for Tesla to do this secondary path, consolidate in this smaller channel or smaller triangle, and then break out from here? No, I don't think so. Not whatsoever. But even though I say that, guys, I'm going to put this as red, guys, because I see that as my secondary path. I see that as a primary, or sorry, a secondary path. This one here is probably more of what I think we're going to expect to see, is this breakdown through this triangle and then a retest down here. Now from here, guys, I think from here, if we do go this path, this, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I think is a key level to buy this stock. Okay, where do I like this one? I like it right there. And if you haven't already, sorry, I don't know why to do that. Okay, and if you already own stocks, in my opinion, great place to add. If you don't already own this stock, then great place to buy. Maybe even a great place to put on some leap options going into 2026, 2027. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Again, no financial advice ever given on my channel, only education. So I give you this in education. I give you this in what I'm doing with my own personal trading strategies. I give you this in entertainment, hopefully. Hopefully it's funny enough where you want to kind of tune in each time and listen. So anyways, I digress. But yeah, guys, that's kind of how I see Tesla. That's where I think things are. Hopefully you guys benefited and like the little financial recap and all that post-earnings stuff. I found that a lot of technical analysis don't really do that. So happy to do that on certain earnings calls, especially where I'm a shareholder. Or there's special requests, guys. If you guys have a special request, then just let me know. I'd be happy to do it. But either way, please comment below if you liked the new kind of post earnings recap call summary with highlights. Tell me if you didn't like it. Tell me what you liked, what you disliked. I'm just looking for some feedback. It's a new channel, guys. Hopefully I'm bringing you guys value. Hopefully I'm doing technical analysis that's helping you guys make money, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day, and that's why I'm doing this, guys. So I want to make money with you guys. I want to be grow this channel with a great group of followers that participate, and yeah, that's all I ask. So hopefully we have a great week. Things are looking fantastic. I'm looking over at my other screens. Futures are up. Things are jamming. So hopefully everyone's making a lot of money. And guys, please hit that like button. I will see you guys on the next one. Cheers and have a profitable week, guys. Take care. Bye now.